Welcome to the Restoration Pros Unplugged Podcast. In each episode, we're going to bring you insightful interviews and discussions with top restoration industry leaders. We're also going to delve into their business, the strategies that made them successful, and most importantly, the valuable lessons they've learned along the way. I'm your host, Clinton James. I'm also the Chief Marketing Officer at Water Restoration Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency dedicated to helping restoration companies nationwide secure more high-value water jobs. Now, this show, it aims to provide you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the restoration industry. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to the Restoration Pros Unplugged Podcast. I'm your host, Clinton James. I'm also the Chief Marketing Officer with Water Restoration Marketing. Today, it's my pleasure to be joined by Elisa Laphand. Elisa, thanks for jumping on here with us.
Of course. Thank you so much, Clinton, for having me. I'm so super excited to talk about me, my journey, and everything that comes with restoration.
Awesome. Elisa is the owner of LAP Services. They're a premier, not only restoration, but also roofing company in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So Elisa and I got connected through an online group called Mitigation Excellence. It's a network of some of the best restoration companies in the country. She recently shared an award she received for Small Business Owner of the Year out in Baton Rouge. So congratulations to you on that accomplishment.
Thank you.
Several reasons I wanted to connect with you, Elisa. The first being, you not only run a restoration company, but you also run a successful roofing company. And I've got a little bit of background working in the roofing industry, so that stood out to me. The second reason is, let's be honest, you're a woman owner in a predominantly male-dominated industry there. The bigger the home service niche grows, the more we're going to see women segment into this industry there. You've been in it for years, and I think you'd provide some great insight as an owner-operator for somebody in the home service spaces, both in restoration and in roofing. Before we get too deep into that, though, why don't you tell us a little bit about LAP Services and the roofing and restoration services that you guys provide?
Yeah, so Elisa Laphand, owner of LAP Services. We primarily offer water and mold restoration alongside commercial and residential roofing installs and coatings.
Okay.
And the business was formed in 2019 by me and my husband. And we've been in operations for about 5 years now. And what's good, woman owned, obviously. And we were 2023 New Orleans Saints small business partner.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so we're going to take that. Congratulations to you on that accomplishment. We're not Saints fans. My wife's a Saints fan, so I can say that.
Good for her. I'm barely a fan myself, but it was just the opportunity to be able to be showcased on a broader spectrum and 100%. Get our brand out there. 100%. So it's been great for us. So I appreciate the opportunity being presented to me for that. But that's how that's my introduction.
Okay, awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you were doing personally before you got into roofing and restoration.
Yeah, so I started LAP while I was still employed at Shell Motiva or refinery in a small town of Convent, Louisiana. I was there for about 10 years. That's actually where I met my husband. So we were working together before we were working together, for real.
Okay.
So I started as an operator, then moved into a training manager position. And then when the plant closed, I was promoted to a supervisor position at a different site. Sam, my spouse, he took a severance package and went ahead and went into LAP full time. Okay. So I was still doing both.
Juggling both the full-time job and also starting the roofing and restoration business.
Yes, I was doing a lot. And at the time also, my twins were 2. So 2-year-old twins, one autistic. And it was like, that's when I kind of started in 2021 to make the transition and resign from my position.
That's a lot to juggle. Take the autism aside, having twin 2-year-olds, having a business that you're trying to grow and develop, and also having a full-time job. And full-time jobs in oil refineries aren't like 8 to 5, 40 hours a
They
week.
were 12-hour shifts. Because when I was in my training position before the plant closed, that was an 8-hour. That worked with the twins. The twins were one, but when I transitioned and went back to shift work, that's when it became too much. I mean, I was getting up at 2 a.m. That's not even real time.
That doesn't seem healthy.
No, it wasn't.
But you made it work. And obviously, working in I've never worked in the oil refineries, but I have to imagine that they are a fairly male-dominated field as well. So working in that field, obviously you picked up some lessons in terms of working with your male counterparts and managing your male counterparts. Tell us a little bit about the lessons that you learned in the oil refineries that you've been able to carry over into owning a successful home service business.
Yeah, so it was crazy. I look very girly. I like to have my hair done, I like to have my nails done. I've always been that way. But I was raised differently. Like my dad, he taught me how to change a tire. I had to cut the grass. I had to change oil. I had to do those things at young. So he was tough on us because he was a girl dad, all girls, So when I came into the plant, there was a lot of negative connotation. I mean, I went into the most dangerous unit in the plant. And it was just tough hearing that, oh, how's she going to do that? How you going to do that with those nails and everything? I kind of, even though it was the most dangerous unit and I was definitely terrified, I really wanted to prove them wrong. And when I got the opportunity to prove and show what I had learned, because I was very, very intentional. I was like, I'm going to show y'all. You think I'm just a girly girl? Well, let me show you. And my first opportunity to manage the project, I was the first woman in history of the plant to manage a project, a multi-million-dollar project, successfully with no injuries and on budget and on time. So that's really what catapulted my career and when I got the training position and why everybody started to think so highly of me. And I got the respect that I knew I deserved, but I had to earn it because, like I said, you look at me, you think, can she really do that? So even now, transitioning into the restoration, when I tell people what I do and they look at me, oh, you do roofing? When I've been on structures 150 feet in the air, a roof don't bother me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you compare roofing to working in a dangerous oil refinery, I mean, that's literally, and don't get me wrong, to all the guys in roofing, listen, I understand.
You can still get hurt.
Yeah, you can absolutely get hurt. You could lose a life, laying felt, right?
Yeah.
Something as simple as that. But you're right. I mean, working in that environment and kind of proving yourself amongst the real dangers that you have, and then transitioning into roofing, being on a roof probably is nothing to you at this point.
No, and the product I worked around, it was still called H2S. It just dents your senses and it literally can kill you in seconds.
Oh, wow.
And so when I look at mold it's just like, I know how to gear up. You just respect it.
Yeah.
And you learn to respect it. And working with men that have been in the industry for 30 years and to get the respect from them and they're like, hats off to you, Lily. Lily got it. That was so gratifying because I knew then that, I had the respect from beginning to end. People wanted to train with me. So like going into to the restoration side, I can go in there, I can go take the measurements, I can go do all that. I can do it. You know what I mean? And I will do it. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, move out the way.
All right. So that leads me to my next question for you.
Yeah.
Obviously you and your husband met on the job site in the oil refinery. He left to go start you guys business together at LAP Services. What drew you guys to the roofing and restoration space?
The roofing, Sam, my husband, he always wanted to do roofing, and he wanted to do construction, actually.
Okay.
And he met this guy in 2020 named Mike Brown. He worked with Allied Restoration, and we worked with him as a subcontractor. And he's the one that kind of introduced restoration to us. We didn't know what it was. I would see a surfboard truck, and I'm like, "They're for the storms." That's it. Did not have any inclination about how deep this stuff gets.
Right.
So when he basically gave us the blueprint to, you want to do water restoration? Let me show you what you need to do. So he told us what licenses we need to get, what certifications we need to get. He showed us what the numbers look like. I mean, the numbers were astronomical in comparison to roofing. The margins were astronomically different. So that's the bread and butter. So hats off to Mike. If you see this, thank you, because we had no idea.
You hit on something that I don't think people talk enough about in home services and getting into the restoration space. How aligning yourself with the right mentor that can set the vision for you, right? Show you the game plan, show you what you need to do to execute to set up a successful restoration business.
Yes.
And it sounds like Mike was that for you and your husband.
Definitely. And I mean, and I'm so grateful because, I mean, the courses that we had to pay for even after Mike, I mean, we can still pick up the phone if we have a question and he can chime in what he thinks. So he's grateful because he didn't charge us a dime. He did this strictly, we call it on a muscle. You do it on a strength. I mean, you want to see somebody be successful. You see them very interested. And that's the same way it was in the plant, because they had this old guy, his name was Carlo, and everybody's like, "Carlo's so mean. He's so mean. He doesn't want to talk to anybody." And he was from Croatia.
Okay.
And one time I saw him going outside, because he would always go outside. And he had these earmuffs on because he was slightly deaf, but I would follow him. And one day he's like, "Why are you following me?" And I was like, "Because I want to learn." He said, "You want to learn?" I'm like, "Yeah." This man unloaded on me. I mean, fire hose to the face. Gave me so much information and would not stop. But that when someone sees you truly wanting to learn and giving you what you ask for, it's a gift. So he gave me a gift in the plan, and amongst other guys, they were fantastic as well. But in the restoration side, it has been tremendous help.
And you're going to get that opportunity to pay that forward to up and coming folks in the restoration space, especially women entrepreneurs, because there's a bunch of people, a bunch of women that work in restoration, but they're not owners, they're not operators, they're not technicians, right? And seeing you and what you've been able to accomplish going from one male-dominated field to another male-dominated field and still be a boss, right?
Yes.
If they see that in you, that's awesome. You're setting a great example for those folks.
I mean, that's exciting, because I try to tell people, like other guys, like guys that I went to school, I'm like, "You need to get into restoration. I'm telling you, it's this and this." I'm like, "Girl, want to hear it?"
All right. So you and your husband both work in the business together. And I see a lot of couples come into the restoration space thinking that that's a good setup. It's got its pluses, it's got its minuses, but you guys have obviously figured out a system where you are responsible for A, B, and C, and he is responsible for D, E, and F. So talk to us a little bit about how you guys establish those boundaries, those responsibilities, and what portions of what are best practices to make sure if you're working with your spouse as an owner of a business, what practices are best to make sure that works well?
Well, hard lessons, I tell you that. When we worked in a plant together, if I was mad or if we would fight have an argument on the way to work, I could ignore him for 12 hours, wouldn't talk to him. And nobody would know that we're arguing. Nobody would know we're mad. He probably didn't care that I didn't bother him. But when you're working together in a business, first of all, you can't mask it. Everybody's listening. They're looking at your your mannerisms. They're looking at uh, the tone, everything. So you can't hide it here. So you have to be very disciplined, and you have to find the boundaries. It it's not easy. You still deal with it today. I'm like, lower your tone. You know what I mean? You get low, and it's like, it's at first, it's not easy. He's the visionary. I'm the implementer.
Okay.
He tells me what it should look like, and I just make it happen. Because I tell him, I said, baby, as long as you're dreaming, it's a dream until I put it in motion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'll always be a dream. I said, so you let me handle it. Tell me what you think it should look like, and then I'll make it happen.
Every successful business should have your visionary, and you should have your implementer. And in your role as the implementer, you probably do a little bit more managing of the personnel that you guys have hired. So talk a little bit about the makeup of your team. Do you have any women on staff, or is it primarily men that you employ? Right?
Women on staff too, mainly phone,
Okay.
filing, those things. But the rest men for everything else.
Did you find yourself having to prove yourself again as you're hiring these technicians, as you're hiring guys that are doing roofing and delivering pallets of shingles and things like that? Did you find yourself initially, even though it was your business, having to prove yourself to those folks that you brought on board, that they looked at the boss, they looked at the fact that you're a woman and that your husband is also a partner in the business, and they didn't expect you to have the skill set, the ability to go out and do the same work that they do on a day in, day out basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I had to prove myself all over again. And then you create that culture. So when I got on the roof for the first time, one of the guys like, what you doing up here? I'm like, I'm just trying to see what you're doing. I'm just looking. You know what I mean? It's just little things like that the men like, oh, you finally came out. You come out the office, huh? Yeah, get out the way and let me do it today. Let me see. It's just it's creating a good culture and gaining respect. And then once I did that, whenever anybody knew, they like they don't know Miss Elisa, she good. You know what I mean? She knows what she's doing. And also being knowledgeable, even though I don't have the certificate, like my name's not on the certificate, but I read, I ask questions, clarify for me, help me understand. Because whenever you're having those conversations with people, then you have the opportunity to really make it make sense for both of you. And that gains respect too, because you're really trying to understand versus just saying, go do this. Help me understand why we're doing this, asking the right questions. So, yeah.
So right now there's with the economy being the way it is, you see a lot of women venturing into home services, right? In all kinds of roles. Take a step back from your business. If you were to look at young women looking to get into the home service space, whether it's in roofing, whether it's in restoration, whether it's in HVAC or plumbing, what's some pieces of advice you would give that young woman on best practices, things that she should do, things that she shouldn't do, transitioning into the home service space to really set herself up to be successful and ultimately find herself in a position where she owns one of these businesses, not just working in the business?
You set your goals, be intentional about it, because you're going to be underestimated. That's a given.
Sure.
But you have to set your own goals, because your fear is within you. You know what I mean? Your limits are your fears. So a woman, if she's just getting started, I would tell her, be direct, be honest. If you don't know, say you don't know. Nothing is worse than acting like you know, and then people see that you don't know. That is the quickest way to get disrespected. I've witnessed it time and time again, and I've made mistakes. So you're going to make mistakes. You're going to be afraid. Get a mentor. And getting a mentor is also not easy. Some people can lead you astray. So you have to ask the right questions. And this happened even in the plant. You know, one guy, they're like, oh, this guy's been here for so many years. He's good. He was not good. When I started learning my job, I was like, this stuff, what was he telling me? I didn't know that.
Okay, so surround yourself with people that actually know what they're doing and don't take advice from fools.
Because initially you're gonna do it mistakenly. You're gonna learn more, and then you're gonna say that person was just talking out the side of their head. You know what I mean? Just talking to be talking. But when you do get a good mentor, show your appreciation. Let them know, how beneficial they are to you to help you grow. In this book I read, Mastery, by Robert Greene, he said it takes at least 7 years to build a mastery of, in something that you love doing. And I truly believe that, because 7 years into my career in that in the oil refinery, I felt like I was just sewing to my own heart, but nobody could play with me. Like, I knew what I was talking about. And, and then when I was on the board, because a board operator is, you manage the units from the inside. And being a board operator and they're calling me up and asking me advice, I was like, I know I got it now. You know what I mean? So the goal is to be just as big and just as inspiring in the restoration and roofing industry. I want to have the same feeling, and that's the feeling I'm looking for.
All right, so you're 5 years in, right? So you're on the precipice of the kind of mastery in the restoration and roofing space that you had in oil refineries there.
Yes.
What is next for you, and what's next for LAP Services? Where do you see the business in the next year, next 5 years?
We want to primarily dive into more commercial and into federal and government work. We've been doing a lot of work with the city too, so we find it's way smoother when you get a system in place. You know what I mean? So that's really where I want to expand on the roofing side. For the restoration, the sky's the limit. I told my mama, I said, I'm aiming for the sun. I'm about to burn it. I'm about to burn it down. They're gonna be like, this girl came out of nowhere. Because I'm telling you, I've been underestimated many times, and I've proven myself many times over. So I think in the restoration industry, there's some Goliaths out there. I'm coming.
We know who they are. Well, I have no doubt that you'll be at the top of the mountain soon there. So, Elisa, I want to thank you for jumping on here. If anybody is in the Baton Rouge, Louisiana area in need of roofing, in need of restoration, if you're in need of mentorship, maybe you can reach out to Elisa there. Tell them how to find you, where to find you.
Yes. So you can email me directly at Elisa, ELISA, at LAP Services with an S, LA.com, or info at LAPServicesLA.com. People can call me directly, 225-523-6599. I will answer the phone. If I don't, just tell me you won't speak to me. And they'll vet it, but
all right, you guys hiring for technicians or roofers or business development reps or anything right now?
If I ask Sam will say, yeah, we haven't done work.
Hey, good people are hard to find. So if anybody's good and you're in your neck of the woods, we'll send them your way.
Yes, please do it. It doesn't hurt to just showcase yourself, and maybe you can come here and make a difference and make me the Goliath we're trying to be.
There you go. All right. Well, I want to thank you again for your time, Elisa, and thank you, the audience, for sticking around here. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast, and we'll be back with more interviews and insights from phenomenal guests like Elisa. Elisa, thank you again for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. If you like what you heard today, be sure to subscribe, share, and also leave us a 5-star review. We'll be back with more interviews and discussions with restoration industry leaders really soon. In the meantime, if you're a restoration company looking to add more high-value water jobs, you can reach me and my team at waterrestorationmarketing.net. Again, that's waterrestorationmarketing.net. I look forward to hearing from you soon.